Okay, we're going to call the regular meeting for January 31st, 2022 to order. I want to welcome everyone online. I'm going to start with the acknowledgement of treaties of peace and friendship. We would like to begin by acknowledging that the land on which we gather is traditional unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq peoples. This territory is covered by the treaties of peace and friendship, which Wolastoqiyik, Mi'kmaq, and Passamaquoddy peoples first signed with the British Crown in 1726. The treaties did not deal with surrender of lands and resources, but in fact recognized Mi'kmaq and Wolastoqiyik title and established the rules for what was to be an ongoing relationship between nations. Thank you. Wow. Next is the reaffirmation of the oath of office. We do hereby accept the office of council and will diligently, faithfully, and impartially discharge to the best of our ability the duties of the office as may be imposed upon us by law. Next, we have a moment of reflection where we take a moment to acknowledge and respect the recent deaths in the community. We have Jonathan Corey Legacy of Nash Creek, Diane Chamberlain and Nelson LaPointe, and Angus Mullally of Lorne, and Ellis Bob Pettigrew of Seaside. If we could have a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Next is the adoption of the agenda. Do we have any additions or deletions or amendments at the moment?
I would have two, if I may, Your Worship. First item I'd like to add would be just a general statement concerning NB Power and some of the comments made by President CAO Keith Cronkite concerning our operation here in Baldoon.
Okay, just let me ask council if I've got unanimous okay with that.
There will be no motion, just information. Second item has to do with the Port of Baldoon, asking that if we could have attached to our website a virtual open house video to that shows the port and things of that nature. So I will make a motion asking council to put that on the website, on our website.
Do we have any issues with that particular item to be added? You can ask a question if you wish. Are we okay with it? Any objections? Okay. So we'll add both of those. And just as a point of order, I think 2 meetings ago and last meeting for sure, we said as a council that if we wanted to add things to the agenda, we'd have total unanimity on that. So whether it's a motion or whether it's a discussion piece, I'll ask council if all agree to add it on. So just so you know, we'll need that. So both items have total agreement tonight, so you can add those. Okay, on the agenda, the motion to adopt the agenda. Can I get a mover, please?
I move that the agenda be adopted as amended with the changes.
Can I get a seconder?
I'll second it.
On the question, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passed. Do we have any statements of conflict of interest for tonight's meeting? Sorry. We move on then to the adoption of minutes. And this is from the meeting the 13th of December, 2021, and the regular meeting of the 20th of December, 2021. Can I get a motion for that?
Motion M 2022 2021/01/31-4, that the minutes of the Committee of Whole Council meeting of December 13, 2021, and the regular meeting of December 20th, 2021 be adopted as presented.
Can I get a seconder for that motion?
So move.
On the question, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passed. Do we have any business arising from the minutes? Okay, we don't have any presentations, petitions, or delegations this evening. So we move on to statements by members of council. And just before we start, council, just going to try and be a little bit more stringent, I would say, on having everyone have an opportunity to speak, and then the person who brought forth the motion or whatever gets the last chance. And if we follow that, we should, because we have a pretty heavy agenda, so that should make it timely, if nothing else. So we'll start with Deputy Mayor Burke.
As mentioned earlier, there's the mailbox on the Noel Road has very limited lighting there, so the motion is to place a street light by the mailboxes to make it more visible and make it a lot more safe. So I'll read the motion, motion M 2022-01-31-5, that a street light be installed on the Noel Road for the mailboxes.
Do we have a seconder?
I'll second it.
On the question,
I have a little bit of concern here. A lot of the mailboxes does not have lights directly, mine included. So I'm just wondering, by deciding to put that street light there, I'm sure there will become a lot more Ford that would want street lights at their location. So that's my concern on that. So that's all I have to say on that.
Councilor Burke, give me last words.
Well, this mailbox in particular is right on the road. You know, it's probably 4 or 5 feet off the road. With that said, I do realize that there are some in our community that are, you know, for example, where I get my mail, I have no problem. I can get off the road very easily, check my mail, and jump back in my car and leave. But this one in particular, in fact, I was there last night and to see how it was in the dark. And in my opinion, it is a dangerous spot. So with that said, that's where I stand.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. Motion 2022-01-31-5, that street light be installed on Noel Road for mailboxes. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
We have 4-1, motion passed. Councillor Carmichael dissent. Okay, thank you.
Okay. The second item I have has to do with the Armstrong Brook Bridge and the Beldoon River Bridge. But numerous councils have tried to deal with the trucks passing on Highway 134, you know, from basically the Superette down to the sawmill. There have been various ideas and things tried. But with that said, one of the things, I've been involved with it in 4 different councils, this one being the 4th one. You know, the public safety of the bridge is a critical, of those 2 bridges, is a critical asset for the village of Beldoon and its residents along that stretch of highway. So what I would like to do is have a motion to have the Department of Public Safety inspect those bridges to see if the weights are adequate or can be reduced. Now, with that said, for example, the bridge at the campground right there at the Armstrong Brook has a 43-ton limit. That would allow a truck, a tractor trailer, tandem load to pass over that bridge loaded. But if that weight were reduced because of the structure not quite being up to where it should be, but is still safe, would reduce that weight that a truck yes, when it was empty, could pass over it, but it would not be able to do so if it were full. So because the 43 ton is right at the maximum of what is allowable by DTI or the Department of Highways allow on the road. So with that said, that's the purpose of this, and really it's just another avenue that I would like to see council explore to see if we can deal with the trucking on that road. So I'll read the motion, M 2022-01-31-6, that Beldoon have the Department of Public Safety confirm that the bridges on Armstrong Brook and Beldoon River are structurally sound to carry the weight.
We have the seconder
I'll second it.
on the question. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion is passed, I believe unanimously.
Okay, the next item I have basically is just a general statement concerning Crime Stoppers. January is Crime Stoppers Month. I have been the representative and affiliated with the Crime Stoppers unit. It will be 20 years in August. It has been a privilege for me to be affiliated with that. Just a quick statement on how Crime Stoppers works. When somebody wishes to pass on information to the unit, they call the 1-800-222-TIPS number. When they give their information to the source there, it basically are assigned a number. So they don't ask you your name, they don't ask you for ID, they give you a number. So you call in with your information, they assign you a number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What you need to do after that is allow time for the process of the investigation by the RCMP or by the Department of Public Safety, which is the Department of, before it was, the Department of Natural Resources, but it's all public safety now. But with that said, it comes to the unit that the tip's been given to, whether it be in St. John. There are 19 units across the province. You are given the number. Once you've allowed enough time, and I'm going to say probably somewhere between 30 to 60 days, you can call the tips number again, and again, you would give your ID number. This is caller from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Has there been a reward issued for the information that I gave on that issue? At that time, they will advise you, yes, there has been. The arrangements will be made for the person who gave the tip. It's always paid in cash, and it's always done unanimously. So your information is what the people are after. They are not after your name, any ID whatsoever. So at the end of the day, the program has proven itself over the years. It has literally solved hundreds and hundreds of crimes, and it has reduced our problems in our community very, very so. So I just really wanted to do a little refresher, make the statement that the Crime Stoppers for me is an important issue, and anyone in the public who say would prefer to give me a call at any time, please feel free to do so. I have meetings on a monthly basis, but with that said, COVID has kind of put a stop to some of that, but we have met. In the month of December. We have not met in January, but at the end of the day, we certainly will be meeting again sometime in the very near future. So any person wishing to say, call the 1-800-222-TIPS, please do so. If you feel more comfortable calling me, please do that also. That is covering that issue. The next item I have has to do with the snow removal contracts being finalized. I just wanted to extend my appreciation to CAO Ferguson and also Clerk Treasurer Cormier for their efforts and understanding in making these contracts and dealing with the issues and putting it all to rest. So, our community is going to be a better place because of it. We've been extremely fortunate to date where I don't believe we've had to utilize the service yet. But with that said, the contract is for 2021-22, but it's a very simple process to renew it for 2022-23. Should council decide that we're going to continue with the program in our next budget for 2023. So with that said, I just wanted to thank the people involved in that, and your time and efforts is greatly appreciated and will be recognized by our community people in the future.
Just going to allow council members to comment, so should they wish.
Did we have to use their service yesterday at all during the weekend? The contractors?
I'm done as far as what I do on the process. The process now lays in the hands of the CAO.
No, the storm really didn't get, just about, but we were okay because DTI was out. I was in discussion with Cameron on the evening, and he said, no, the plows are going by pretty good everywhere, so we didn't get to it yet. We also do have some outstanding contracts that they're just trying to finalize a few things on, so that should get finished up this week, hopefully, so.
Do you know if the DTI called their local contractors if they were required at all?
Well, they already do that.
They normally do that.
Yeah, they
though,
normally
on a
do that,
storm.
so if they would have needed them, they would have called them.
Okay.
But we didn't use our new snow removal process yet, but, which is a good thing, I guess, but.
Anyone else? I'll just finish by saying I'd like to congratulate all those who worked on it too. It was a job well done, not an easy thing to deal with, a lot of parameters there and criteria. So it's a good job, well done. You have a couple more, Deputy Mayor Burke?
Yes. The next item is an item I asked to have added, has to do with NB Power. I don't know how many people or how council have read in the newspaper some of the statements made by President and CAO of NB Power, Keith Cronkite. He also has made some statements on CBC radio and that type of thing that has been very, very positive for our community. He has made the statement that NB Power cannot meet its electrical obligations without Beldoon. And he has made it clear that Beldoon is in the plans of the future past 2030. So I just wanted people to hear that from I'm just carrying the message of the President and CAO, Keith Cronkite. So with that said, that says a very powerful and strong ally and statement when you look at what's happening with NB Power and the generating station here in Beldoon. He has made it clear that they, to say have a biogas or natural gas facility is far too expensive for NB Power to have to build and things of that to meet its obligations. So, these are positive things for our community and very strong statements coming from, an individual who is, an ally of the village of Beldoon in the sense of the power generating station. So with that said, I just wanted council to hear it. I just wanted the public to be aware that it's out there.
Comments by council members? Just to add to that for a second, that and in terms of the public venue that Mr. Cronkite was speaking, it was to normally the legislature has hearings, and this was I can't remember the day. I think it was January. I'm guessing not the Thursday that just passed, but the Thursday before. So to make those comments publicly, it's it's positive. I mean, they recognize too that they need to fill the void for power, and Beldoon's going to be a big part of that. So, it was good news to hear.
The last item I have, as I say, will require a motion that we post the attachment to our website, but it has to do with Jenna McDonald, who is the Vice President of Marketing, Communications, and Government Relations, sent me an email asking if the Village of Beldoon could attach the Master Development Plan Virtual Open House video, along with a survey that is attached to that video. And it is part of the plan to visit the Beldoon Port Authority Visual Open House. And you learn about the Master Development Plan, you can ask questions, you can sign up for the newsletter, and you can take a survey. So all I'm asking is basically that information be relayed to our website. She has given me the website, the attachment, and if I have to, I can ask her to send it to our clerk treasurer. But I would like to make the motion that the website be added to the Beldoon website as an attachment.
Do I have a seconder
I'll second it.
on the question?
Would this be permanent? Is this something that they're going to leave on our website, or is this just a
Yeah,
temporary?
it will be on our website, and I imagine what we'll do from there would be have to ask them that if they update their version, to please let us know so we can update our version.
Anyone else? On the motion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passed. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Burke. Councillor Carrier.
As we had discussed at the last meeting, I believe it was, about the space here, for the rental space for the food establishment, I would prefer to have it put out, not as an RFP, but just simply that we have space here that's available to rent for anyone who wants to open any kind of a food establishment. So my motion is that Beldoon advertise the unit, that space, in the local papers, Kijiji, social media, Facebook, and any other relevant places with rental price set to $750 plus utilities, and would include the equipment, and occupant must have their own insurance.
Can I get a seconder
I'll second it.
on the question?
If I may, Your Worship, what happens if we get no response? Where do we go from there? I mean, is this going to be here forever, or are we just going to say, if there's no response in a reasonable amount of time, and I have no objection if we were to say a reasonable amount of time is 3, 4, 5 months, that's irrelevant to me. But it can't be here forever. We need to look at the alternatives. So my question basically is, what timeline are we going to put on this, and then how are we going to deal with it should we have basically no one interested in dealing with this facility?
Councillor Carrier?
I think we would cross that bridge when we come to it. I mean, we don't have a time limit on the other spaces that are here as to what we're going to do with that. I do know that we've already had interest. In fact, just prior to the RFP going out, someone actually did send in a proposal and would have taken the space at that time, but we were told at that time that it had to go out as an RFP because of the way it had went out previously. So I think that's something, we cross that bridge when we come to it. I don't think that there needs to be a timeline put onto it for that space any more than there would need to be a timeline put on for the west or the east end of the building, or the other empty vacant spaces in the building, so.
Any other comments, questions? Okay, we'll move on to the motion then. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. 4 to 1, I think Councillor Robinson dissented. Okay, we're moving on now to administration reports.
Thank you, Your Worship. First one is grants. Read here. my glasses on. So, we have 3 requests. Number one is the Hennessy House, which is a local landmark historic building in Bathurst. So they were searching for some money. I know it's my job kind of to recommend some things, and council will make their decision on that. This isn't one that I would put any money from the village towards. It's more of a Bathurst thing, and it's not for, it is a great house, it's a great activity place in Christmas time and things like that, but it's something that I think is more tied to the city of Bathurst, and we have a lot of people around here who are asking for money as well, so that one I wouldn't, but that's up to you. The second one is a very worthy cause, as we all know. Sickness in children is a terrible thing, and I think this group that's asking for a donation, the IWK Sound Foundation, is used by all walks of life, and I think that would be a very good place to put some of the village money with, because we know the importance of that one. The last one I didn't have on my list, but I'm going to just introduce you to it because it came in late. I did receive a residential grant application. I wanted to let you know, just in case you do get some calls from, it came in after the December 1st deadline, where we had gotten rid of the residential grant application process. So that's why I didn't say it was, that it would be acceptable for that. However, I did want to let you know, and that they did purchase the house in September before it went, so I just thought I'd let you know that, so in case you had any questions. So I guess we would need a motion to accept. I need to know which ones that you want to go with, so.
So we had the Hennessy House. The Hennessy House and the IWK, correct?
Yep.
So let's just, should we minus the Hennessy House one for the moment and just go with the IWK? Would council prefer to leave the Hennessy House one out at the moment? Okay, so let's just go with the IWK support at this point. So can I get a mover for -8? And we're just talking about the IWK at the moment.
I'll make a motion that the Village of Baldoon send $250 to the IWK.
Get a seconder?
I'll second that.
On the question, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Unanimous for the IWK support. Okay, next.
Thank you, Your Worship. The second one is about the Circle of Friends program building. Council suggested that I go out to speak with them and to see about the possibilities of a different location for them, and to take a look at some other things that they have going on there. So I did do that, and as I mentioned at the last meeting, and they really liked the place where they are. So they don't want to be in the basement. I explained that at the last meeting, but anyway. But there was a question about the fire marshal, so I did get some information with regards to that. The fire marshal did inspect the center when they were talking about getting the installation of the chairlift. They're following recommendations, which they're working on right now. Some of them are very easy. You just have to follow some of the rules. That never any more than 60 people. Fire safety plan has to be developed, so they're working on that. The back exit must be clear of anything, maintained. The handrails have to be, like when you put in the chair, you still have to have handrails, so they would have to go on the other side. So that'll be some work that needs to be done when the chairlift goes in. Hopefully we'll get the funding in April. It was suggested that we would get. All other things seem to be fine. There's lots of space in the stairwells. The stairwell is actually pretty sturdy. It is an old building, we know that, and there was some concern about whether it was sturdy enough or steady enough to house this, and the feeling of the fire marshal is that it is. So we're gonna move on from that, and we're gonna wait until April and apply for that money again, probably in March. We're gonna get on that. We have the site and everything to do, and we've been speaking to the politicians with regards to that. So Fire Marshal Jacques Bijou gave us the okay with everything on that. Are there any questions on that?
Any questions or comments by council?
How about the one that grant for the housing? Since he purchased the house in September, I'm just wondering if we shouldn't give him his grant, because we overskipped that one, right?
Well, we already did that motion, but there's probably a lot more people that purchase houses too prior to
Before?
the.
Well,
yeah.
there's not, wasn't that a whole
That's,
lot.
that's the only issue, and it's difficult, we have timelines, it's sort of like the same thing when we put the
Yeah.
RFP out for the janitorial services. Deadlines have to be followed
Yeah,
sometimes,
true.
because if you do for one, then you might have to do for another or whatever, but that would be up to you, like, if you want me to revisit it, we can have that discussion, and I can actually ask, clerk if there have been anything else, and I'll talk to her about tomorrow, and I'll get back to you. Okay, this is an important one, I believe. There's, especially this time of the year. We have snow removal. We're always talking about snow removal, not only here, everywhere. So it's, but just a little history, and Deputy Mayor might be able to help me out a little bit on this, but I know that the roads, the province turned all the roads over to the municipalities in the 1970s. I'm not sure exactly what year it was, but they were then given to the municipalities. And at that point, the municipalities had to make a decision as to which ones they were going to maintain in summer and winter. And they also, depending on what's happened with certain roads and what they may add to those, or they may, in some cases, take one that's unmaintained, and council's decision would be to change it. That's the powers that council have in working with DTI, of course, because sometimes, as we had, I think on Ocean, it got to be a point where DTI said, we don't feel comfortable because of the turn and some other stuff that was going on there. I don't know the whole story, and at that point, because it was a maintained road since the village took it over, council 3 years ago decided, because it was maintained and DTI didn't want to go, that they would pay a contractor to go and do it. So there were some questions about that from some councilors, and to be honest with you, that was one that probably they made the correct decision, I believe, in my mind. Yet there are some other ones that come along pretty much the same way. So it's difficult, and I know people have been looking at these things. It's just the designation are there. So when you have your you get your invoice from the province, it's based on the amount of kilometers that they're doing, and if you add things, then it's going to affect your budget. So I'm not saying you can't do it, but there are certain places that are not designated and have not been designated in the past, and that's why they don't get done. So council can make a decision to take a look at some of the roads that we are dealing with right now where they think maybe there should be, and then council can make that decision as to whether they would like to designate them, because I just can't do it. There's a couple of other ones that have been designated yet weren't getting done. There was some confusion with regards to Shannon Drive, and that's basically, that one's on me, because I thought we had given Shannon Drive to the port, but the actual legal part of it is not finished yet. I think I'm right with that one, Brenda?
All the legal work is done, it's just that only a portion of Shannon Drive was turned over to the port. not
Okay,
all.
well, we'll have to check into that, because they believe that I should be doing that portion too. That's the last portion near the end of it? Heading into NB Power?
Yes,
Shannon Drive?
it's
Yeah,
a
okay,
fair
yeah.
bit.
So we'll look at that, but the other two that were there, they're on the designated list, and they were not getting done. But that's been rectified, so they were there this weekend and got things done. So that's where, I just wanted to let you know how, and it's a difficult thing because we have a list of those roads that are designated and those are not. Some are designated in the summer, some are not. Then we tried to help some people out by doing a little bit when really that might create even more problem because it's not supposed to be designated. But that's where we stand on that. It's a bit of a gray area, but as far as I can say in the last 2 weeks studying this stuff, that's how I see it.
Could I comment on that, if I may, Your Worship? I do realize that these sometimes are very sensitive issues, what road is maintained and what road is not maintained, as you mentioned, whether it's winter maintenance or summer maintenance, whatever. But my point is this, as many of you are aware, I own a camp on the Jacket River. It is 1 kilometer off the road, off the Noel Road, down the Davison Flats Road to reach my camp. I do not go there in the winter, basically because the road is not maintained. With that said, never once have I ever come to council, any council, and made a request that that road be opened for my use, ever. And I say it that way because I never will. And I do understand that the policy works against what I may need to do in the future if I ever said, well, I'm going to move there year round. But I honestly believe that the policy is clear. The policy states that, what I need to do if I decided to live there year round, and that's what I would do. So with that said, I just wanted to add fuel to any questions that some member of the public may ask council. Feel free to say, we have a council member that is in exactly that boat, and he has never come to council for opening that road, and it is because the policy is clear. So, okay?
I agree with Deputy Mayor. I know for a fact, when you buy a home, you know if it's service or not service. And by servicing and making exception, you're opening, I think, probably about 40 roads here in Beldoon. I may not be right on. I know that I just came from Ontario, and my son's road is 1.5 kilometers. There's 25 homes on that road, and he pays to clean his own road. The whole road does. Plus, they need to take their garbage and the recycling at the end of the road. It's the bus. The kids need to go to the end of the road. When you purchase a property, you know what's entailed to this property. That's and I agree with Ron, the policy's there for a reason.
Any other comments?
Yeah, I have just a comment. If we're going to talk about housing problems in the village, and we're going to talk about developing the village, and we're going to talk about economic development and having people move here, I think it's really important that people receive the services that I think people in our community should be entitled to. So there was a request put in for Levillet Road. We're talking about 0.28 kilometers of road that's not maintained. I think when you look at why those decisions were made, it wasn't just, and we're gonna skip this end of Levillet Road because we don't wanna plow that far. There was nobody living down there. So I think to have a blanket policy that we're just not gonna plow any roads that 20 years ago when the roads were turned over to the village, it was decided that we weren't going to plow them, so now in 2021, 2022, we're still not going to plow them, is kind of a disservice to people who do move here. And I don't know how easy it would be for somebody to know if their road was serviced or not, because it took me 2.5 weeks to get that information as a member of council. So for somebody moving into Beldoon from Ontario or from wherever, and we have a really beautiful place to move to. So to say, well, welcome to Beldoon and good luck getting out of your road in the winter is not kind of the welcoming image that we should be presenting to the public. And maybe that's a fault of the real estate agent or non-disclosure or whatever, but I think to not plow a third of a road because somebody should have known better than to move to the village of Beldoon says a whole lot that we shouldn't be really saying.
When I said 1.5 for my son, the one that's living at the end of that road is also paying for the same maintenance as the whole road, and they live on one of the nicest lakes there. So I'm saying, yes, you know what you're buying when you're moving there. When you purchase something, you know if it's service or non-service. So if you do it for this other person in Laviolette Road, then you're going to have people in other areas that's going to want the same services. So there's also a track there where I believe you have to get to this place at the end of that road. That is also a difficult thing because of the type of the road it is for the fire department or garbage truck or whatever, any service truck that needs to get down there. So like, they know what they buy when they come here, so it's kind of hard to change. Like, we don't have to go as far as Laviolette Road. We just need to go on the train station road on the other side. Again, another place that's not service, and people were aware when they purchased it there.
That
So-
isn't a public road, though.
Nor is Laviolette the end
It's not a
either.
public road, it's a private road. So they know when they're buying their property that it's a private road.
And they also
There is
know.
no
Okay.
public road there. Lavillette is a public road.
Okay, let's, does any, Counselor Carrier.
Yeah, I was just thinking too, like along the same lines as Cynthia, that maybe we need to look at, because what I'm wondering, and the road that is standing out in my mind is, for example, the Colony Road. I believe the plow still goes back the Colony Road because there used to be houses there, but there isn't anymore. There's no houses back there anymore. So could we not say, okay, well, we're not gonna plow back that road, and then we would take and plow a different portion of road where there is houses?
There are houses.
There
in
are
there.
houses
I was
back
out,
at the
out
colony.
that with,
I'm talking about on the Mitchell side. So the plow doesn't go right through from Mitchell to Turgeon Road. Does it? It doesn't, right? No, I don't think so, does it?
no.
Okay, so where I'm talking about is like the Donley property, where there used to be homes there, and it used to be plowed there, and I believe it's still being plowed there, but now there are no homes there, and I'm just wondering if perhaps this is, not the only case of this, that where it used to be plowed because people lived there, but now there's nobody living there. And then, so now we're plowing places where there's nobody living, and we're not plowing where people are living, so, and I think that you need to look at, is it one family, is it 5 families, is it, I don't think it can just be a blanket thing. I think it's something that, like our rural plan, may in fact be outdated, and it's something worth looking at.
Just a general comment to, if I may, Your Worship. One thing council has to remember is that there are some of these roads that are not maintained because they cross the railroad track. So we need to understand that the reasons they don't want to cross the railroad tracks, it has only to do with safety. And these, whether it be the garbage truck, the plow, the fire trucks, at the end of the day, it's an extremely dangerous intersections when you have a dirt road meeting the railroad track and there's no sight lines, there's no lighting, whatever. So, the other side to that is this, that, for example, I mentioned that I have a camp along the Davison Flats Road. If 5 people came in and built houses on that road or bought land there and all of a sudden houses are going up, I would suspect that council would look at making that a serviceable road, that it would need to be serviced winter and summer, probably paved eventually. And I'm just making the point that there are differences and reasons why these things may look one way, but they're really another. So keep those issues in mind, and I'm just passing that on for information.
Okay, I'll step down, Deputy Mayor Burke, for a second and just, I don't know, I have much to offer, and then I'll pass it over to CEO Ferguson. And just to sort of carry on what Councillor Carrier said, I think one of the problems, and our village runs into this a little bit, is that we're dealing with policy that's 20-plus years old. And it's, the first, and Councillor Carmichael can attest to this, the first time that I think we ran into this was the Laviolette Road West request that went to past council a couple of years ago. I think it's a request we're going to get more and more, because more and more people are thinking about moving here. Even this past Thursday, a real estate agent from Trenton, Ontario tried to get in touch with me. He missed me. I think I ended up speaking with Deputy Mayor Burke because there was someone there looking to buy a property here. And I ended up finally getting in touch with her, and one of the things I did say is I make sure you know exactly what's going on, so that you don't get surprised. So we're probably going to see this more and more. So it's probably something, again, that maybe now is the time that we need to maybe take a second look at it, see what we can do and what we can't, and that'll be up to council. So I'll throw it to CEO Ferguson if you want the last word on that, and then we'll move on.
No, that's fine. It's just like it would be in council's hands to change any of them, and I think the council members have some good ideas with regards to that. I just want to let you know where I stand on it. So when someone calls me and they want to have their road done, I just can't say go do it. That's, first of all, a couple of them that we're talking about are safety issues. That the DTI said we will not go there and do that. I'm sorry, it's not going to be done. So then you would have to hire a local contractor, which can be done as well too. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that up because it's going to come into play here in another one that I have after. But the next one I have is the asset management update. As per my discussion with council a couple of months ago or a month ago, we stand in a situation where we do not have a asset management plan up to date since 2017, the end of 2017. And for us to receive funding, some types of fundings, gas tax money, things like that, we need to get that done. So I met with a firm that did our original one because they had the files. I think I told council I was going to do that. So we had a Zoom meeting last week with the 3 engineers and myself. And then Mr. Alex Mason got back to me with a plan. I didn't put it with your, I don't think I gave you that one. I'm not sure. I just got this back to me anyway. But I'll tell you, there's a lot of things that have to be done. There are 5 main components to it. Number 1 is an asset inventory update. We have our first one, but that's 4 years ago. So there's a lot of stuff that may not be with us anymore or is in worse shape or whatever. That needs to be done. The application for the FCM grant, that needs to get done. We have roads and culverts, which I think is a big thing for Beldoon. There has to be a 10-year capital plan made for that. There's an asset, the number 4 is, again, we talked about this with the water study before. And this is what we will bring to our water committee too, just tell them where it came from, because they were waiting for this information, as Deputy Mayor and I know from our meetings with them. A water and wastewater 10-year capital plan as well. Asset inventory, the last one is a asset inventory data quality improvements. So that's a big one too. The quality of our assets and how we're going to go forward, redoing some of these, repurchasing some things and fixing things that needs to get done. I checked with a couple of firms about what their estimates would be for something like this, and they're all basically around the same. So we have an estimate from these people. It's probably upwards to $150,000. Of which some of it can be paid by gas tax from the FCM to search to get that grant to do that, and we're going to look at those things. I am also right now trying to see what the deadlines are exactly for this, because in my mind it would be something that if we could do that over 2 years would be better budget-wise for us. Than having to do the whole thing right away, because I'm not exactly sure where the funds would come from or whatever, but that's where we're looking at. So I'll have further information for you at our next meeting when I meet with this and find out some of that information about if it can be spread over time. But it's something we have to look at for budget for sure. I don't know what we're going to do with that, but I will bring further information back to you for our next meeting. The next one, Your Worship, is the request for the, name the ATV Bridge. Oh, I missed one, sorry. Did I? Oh, well, I'm just kind of sleeping here, aren't I? Oh, CAO recruitment, that's why I wanted to skip that, I just didn't want to get anybody new. Our committee has met again for the CAO recruitment just this past Friday, and to review some things. We have February 4th for the deadline for applications. We were pleasantly surprised with the applications and the quality of the people that have applied. It's not going to be an easy job. There's 2 or 3 that are extremely, and I received another one today too, it's really good. So we have about 11 or 12 applications right now. And the 2 people that probably know the most about these things are our committee chairman, Mr. Denis Caron, and Jack Novak. We're actually shocked that we received these types of applications. Not that it's just a small community and they're moving from Ontario or Northwest Territories or Beldoon. There's some from Beldoon too. So, the process now will be, the committee is going to meet next week after the deadline for applications, and we're going to have a committee who's going to shortlist it to 3 or 4 from our main, and then we're making a choice and bringing forward that choice based on qualifications. They're going to have the HR department from the Port of Beldoon right now is developing a grid for us and a scoring template and things like that, and Jack has put together some ideas for some questions and stuff, so that's where we're moving. So we're moving along quite well with that. The next one is the request to build along a private access. So again, this kind of leads right into after what we just talked about. There's a Maureen Pascal wanting to build on the waterfront. You can see where it is, and basically it's an area. The property is in an area that is not serviced. So we're making sure that they know that right away, so that garbage won't be picked up in waterfront and private access. It have to be brought to the public, and the maintenance services are the responsibility of the property owners. So I think it's a good thing, but we just they're looking for approval to start their home.
Okay, well, let's get to the motion then. And then we can discuss if somebody has questions. Can we get a mover?
So move, your worship. Motion 2022-01-31-9, that the Council of Beldoon agree to the building of a house by Maureen Pascal on property PID 50075-928 with the following conditions. Waterfront drive or the private access is not suitable for a public street. The municipality of Beldoon will not upgrade or maintain this private access in the future. All maintenance services and improvements to the private access are the responsibility of the property owners. The garbage will not be picked up along the waterfront drive or the public access. It will have to be brought up to the public street in order to be picked up.
Do we have a seconder
I'll second it.
on the motion?
I have a question. I'm just wondering, why did this have to come to council? Is it because she's looking to build on a street that's not maintained? It's because it's waterfront?
She has a trailer and stuff there now. I think she wants to build a home. But I think she already has all the necessities. So I think it's because of the planning, because of the way it's,
I think it came from
Zoned.
planning. This came from planning, and I think it's because of their building along a private access road.
So again, something linked to our rural plan, or,
If you have,
so that it's going against something that need to come to council? Okay, perfect.
I think it's probably, I'm surprised why this is on here, and the one we were talking about earlier wouldn't have received the same thing. So, anyway, but this came from planning, so I didn't even know anything about it.
Okay, all those in favor say aye. Those opposed say nay. Motion passed unanimously. Okay.
Okay, thank you. The next one I have is a request from Mr. Jacques Ouellette of the Quad NB Group, ATV Group, the Chaleur ATV Group. They, as you know, they've put quite a bit of money into as well. They built a new bridge, or in the process of building a new bridge across the Jacket River, which is going to be vital to travel on ATVs, which is one of the fastest growing activities, recreational activities going. And Mr. Ouellette has spearheaded this. The Chaleur Club, as you can see from the email from Mr. Ouellette, was offered by RH Fernet a donation of $30,000 to put their name on the bridge on one end of it. On the other end, there'll be a sign just about the same size, but will be divided into 3 or 4 other ones of other funding partners, which would include the village. That being said, I wanted to make you aware that the village has invested quite a bit of money with regards to this this bridge as well in the trail. It's over $200,000 and plus $40,000, I think, for a purchase of some land.
Probably running over 300,000.
Yeah, over 300,000. Thank you. So I just want to let you know that. I mean, it's up to you guys if you would like to be in support of that for the ATV club.
Anybody have any comments or suggestions?
I have no problem with them having their name on it, as long as we get our bridge finally. $30,000 will go towards it, so that's a good thing.
Okay?
I'm not so sure the $30,000 would go towards the bridge. If it's given to the Four Wheelers Club, what assurances, for example, if we're gonna pay $200,000 for a bridge, that means it would be $170,000 if the money was given to the Village of Beldoon, and then the Village of Beldoon agreed to put RH Frenet's name on it. This way, I'm not 100% convinced that that $30,000 that can be spent on the trail, it could be spent wherever the Chaleur Club wishes. So I would like to amend the motion to have RH Frenet approach the Village of Beldoon with exactly the same offer and exactly the same type of privilege that we would name the bridge in RH Frenet, but the donation is made to the Village of Beldoon to offset the cost of the purchase of the bridge.
Anyone else? I think you'd have to, I mean, I think it's fine to go through with a motion if you wish to. I mean, it would be a motion to the topic, which is on the agenda, because I don't see any motion there as it is right now. It's just a discussion piece. But seeing this is the regular meeting, which deals with motions, and this is the topic on conversation, if you wish to put it as a motion, because it sounds like that's where you want to go with this. It's up to you.
I'm just not, personally, I mean, we're investing over 300,000, whether it be on trails or whatever. And I agree with Councillor Carmichael's statement. I have no problem with the investment, in the sense of saying that I believe this is going to benefit our community in tourism and bringing traffic to the community. But with that said, when I get a request from an individual to name the bridge after them, which the Village of Beldoon is basically financing, and it comes from the Chaleur Trail Club, I'm not sitting here convinced that the $30,000 is going to go on the bridge. It's more of a general statement, unless I'm misinterpreting what is said there. Does anyone else have a different opinion of what is said there? They're saying they want to donate $30,000 to the trail, or to the Chaleur Trail Club, which, I mean, they could use that money for anything as far as the way I interpret that letter. So I'm just,
Well, I tell you what, Deputy Mayor Burke, we can get some opinions if we do on the question. So I'm just gonna ask you, do you want to put forth a motion, or do you just want to leave it as a discussion?
I will put forward a motion that says that R.H. Frenette, and I believe it's Andre Frenette, who is now the owner of R.H. Frenette, could approach the Village of Beldoon with exactly the same request, and that we would look at it positively in the sense of saying that if he's willing to make a donation to have his name affiliated with the bridge, then we are open to that suggestion.
But what's the motion?
Motion is to have Andre Frenette approach the Village of Beldoon with exactly the same offer.
Do we have a seconder? Do we have a seconder to that motion?
I'll second it, just so it comes on the table.
Okay. On the question?
It just seems that on the email, that he says he needs the money because the cost has gone up and the money's going to go towards a bridge regardless. That's what I read out of this from the beginning. So whether we get the money in hand or he gets the money and puts it on towards the trail, either way is okay with me, as long as the money goes towards the trail here in Beldoon.
Anyone else?
What I'm getting from it, he wants to donate $30,000 to purchase the name of the bridge. So I just, if he wants to donate it to the trail itself, that'll have to change a little bit, right?
Well, sir, Your Worship, in my discussions with Mr. Ouellette, they are $140,000 over budget, so this $30,000 is to go against that 140. So it is gonna be put on the bridge, but I could certainly ask. I don't really feel comfortable going to say, listen, you're giving 30, well, I'll do it, but, you know, I know you're offering $30,000, but can you give it to us? You know, I'll do it if you want me to.
Well, I'll step down for a second. I think it's legitimate that the $30,000 needs to go on the trail, right? So I mean, for me, to ask that there's some assurance in some way is a reasonable request. I think that's what council would, unless council, if it's of opinion that we stay out of Mr. Ouellette, put it in where he decides to put the money, then let, C.O. Ferguson know that too. For me, I think it's a reasonable request to say that if you're coming to the Village of Beldoon to ask that we allow you to put a name on the bridge, then the money that goes toward that should probably go to the bridge. And we should have some assurance of that. That's a logical connection of the dots there. So how else do we do that but simply ask? So maybe it's just a matter of asking Mr. Ouellette, can we get some assurance in some way, whether it be a letter or some way, that the money that you get, put the name on, goes towards the bridge so that we don't have to pay as much? Is everyone okay with that?
I'm okay with that.
And I think then we wouldn't have to, I don't think we need to go through with a motion then. So do you want to withdraw the motion? Mayor?
I don't have any problem with the request. I want to make that clear. Mr. Frenette has done a lot of good things in the region. I can even say he's employed some of our local residents, so he's done a lot of good things. So with that said, my concern is that the club can use the funds elsewhere. If they want to use the bridge, I have no problem with that, in the sense of saying that the $30,000 should go to the bridge, not to the trail. So, yeah, let's make the request and I'll withdraw the motion.
Okay. Can we get a seconder to withdraw the motion?
I'll second it.
All those in favor of the motion being withdrawn and a directive given to CEO Ferguson just to touch base with Mr. Ouellette and get that assurance? All those in favor say, or on the question? Everybody okay with that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, CEO Ferguson?
Thank you. Next one I have is an AJN update. I know it was a quick notice for some of you last week to attend the meeting, but in our defense, they changed it, and there sometimes those things happens with this group. So anyway, I just did want to inform council of the discussions that we have. I can't get into anything too intricate or whatever, too many details, but all I can tell you is we had a meeting with Mr. Dubé and with Mohammed Ahmed and his wife, Cass, I can't remember her name now, but and I think Councillor Carmichael was with us as well in his worship, and so they've basically told us that they're moving forward on a number of things. I'm in the process right now of setting up with their HR person who they just hired, job fairs, one in Camelton, one in Bathurst, and one in Beldoon. So tomorrow I have a Zoom meeting with them again to go over some of the details of that, and there's other things that they've done which are very promising. I can tell you we had a good meeting, but you know, we've had good meetings before, but we haven't, you know, we would like to see something more solid, I guess, before we get too excited, although we do encourage them, and they're doing very well, and we've done our part with regards to Restigouche Road. That's in our next agreement that we got to look at, but there was certainly a reason for some optimism from the meeting, and if it does go through, there'll be quite a few people hired, and that's what we're hoping for. So it still remains a big file, and one that we certainly are not giving up on.
Okay, so we have a motion, and we'll start the motion, and then we'll get to some comments by council if they so wish. So the motion is 31-10, or 131-10. Can we get a mover, please, for that particular motion?
Your worship, I'm not sure if we... Yeah, that's the ACOA agreement.
Sorry, my apologies.
Well, it kind of runs hand in hand because it is the reason that we're doing that road. There have been some delays with regards to some work that needs to get finished in the spring. And we didn't get the electricity hooked up. In fact, I didn't even know that it wasn't ordered, but anyway, that's until we looked at the agreement, and the clerk picked that one up saying, well, there's $32,000 here to pay that or whatever. But that has not been put in the power, so I guess that's important for their construction on the spur lines. And Schiller Forest Products have not finished the work that they have to do so that we can continue on with what we have to do. There's still some ditching, and there still is some fire hydrants that need to be placed in, and they can't be done until the spring either. So what we've done is we've asked ACOA for an extension for us to get the work completed. We hope to have it by September, everything done. I don't believe that there'll be any construction with AGN, probably until late summer, and we should have pretty much everything ready for them to go there, if that's the case. So we're just looking to get an extension on our COA funding agreement, sorry.
Okay, so now we go to the COA agreement, 218628, the amendment on Restigouche Street. So we have the motion 0131-10. Can I get a mover, please?
I move that council accept the amendment of ACOA Agreement Project Number 218628 as per the letter dated January 27, 2022.
No seconder?
I'll second it.
On the question? Okay, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. It passes unanimously. Thank you, CEO Ferguson. We go now to Clerk Treasurer Cormier.
The financial report for the general operating fund from December the 1st to December 31st, we had a bank balance from November of $694,207.30. We had deposits of $5,238, direct payments of $1,150, province of New Brunswick, direct deposit of $367,167, province of New Brunswick, direct payment of $16,396.48. There was a debit fee correction of 4 cents, arena cash deposits of $1,872, and interest revenue of $402.29, for a total deposits of $392,225.81. We had checks that were issued from December the 1st to the 31st of $808,726.16. November payroll check cleared in December of $108.10. Accounts payable direct payments of $15,800.16. Direct payment Service New Brunswick $74. Direct payment work health and safety $1,586.59. Bank charges of $71.68 and MasterCard payments of $686.07. We had checks that had cleared from November of $47,365.94 and checks that were still outstanding at the end of December of $79,864.51. Leaving an account balance at the end of December of $291,878.92. The capital reserve account was $2,656,688.99. The capital operating reserve balance was $201,308.56. The gas tax fund was $630,770.03. There were no current accounts payable and no accounts receivable at the time of this report. And we had due from the general utility operating fund $6,000. Due to the general utility operating fund $6,159.61. And due to the general capital reserve, $385,000. For the utility operating fund, December, we had a bank balance carried forward from November of $27,515.64. Deposits of $4,158.32. Direct payment of $16.41. E-payments of $500 and interest of $12.70. For total deposits of $4,687.43. We had checks that were issued in December of $397.53 and e-transfer payments of $13,714.22. Checks that were cleared from November, $318.01, and checks that were still outstanding at the end of December, $369.45. The current account balance at the end of December was $18,142.76. The capital reserve account was $54,255.40. Operating reserve was $6,924.29. And the trust account balance is $28,671.82. In the accounts receivable, from 2020, we still have an outstanding of $150 on residential. And in 2021, we had from January to March, a residential outstanding $125, April to June residential $125, July to September residential $125, October to December residential $375, and December industrial of $6,290.66. So we have due from the general operating fund $6,159.61, due to the utility capital reserve $23,000, and due to the general operating fund, $6,000.
Okay. All right. So there's no motion pertaining, oh, yes, there
Yes,
is.
there is.
Yes, there is, yeah. So we have a motion 0131-11 as pertaining to the financial reports. Can I get a mover for that?
I move that the financial report be accepted as presented and the accounts payable to be paid.
A seconder?
I'll second it.
On the question?
Just if I may, Your Worship, We had debated with the Shallor Committee about paying the water study that was to be done. There was $11,000 there, I believe. Has that been deducted yet? We're still contemplating that?
Council did not pass the motion to do the study, so there's been no
Okay.
movement.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. The motion is accepted, passed unanimously. So now we move on to bylaws and policies. So we see there are some documentation has been given to council. We also have the motion from December 20th, 2021. There's also a public notice there, so council had quite a few documents to review. So that pertains to 8.2, the bylaw number 1701-2022, concerning the amendment of zoning provisions of the rural plan of Beldoon, first and second readings by title. So the first one is 0131-12. Can we get okay, oh, sorry.
Oh, okay, I move that that bylaw number 1701-2022 concerning the amendment of the zoning provision of the rural plan of Beldoon, the title of which only has been read, be adopted at first reading.
Do we have a seconder? Okay, without a seconder, the motion does not get to the table. We move then to motion 2201-31-13. Okay, so we can't do 13. 13 is related to 12, obviously. So without a seconder for 12, 13 goes by the wayside. So we move then down to 8.3. Okay, again, also there we have some documents that were given to council. One related to the motion of December 20th, 2021, which is the modification to the rural plan, and then the Culligan Road public notice of rezoning. So that pertains to 8.4, bylaw number 1702-2022 concerning the amendment of zoning provisions of the rural plan of Beldoon, first and second readings by title, which takes us to the motion 2022-0131-14. Do we have a mover for that particular motion?
I move first reading title that bylaw number 17-02-2022 concerning the amendment of the zoning provision of the rural plan of Beldoon, the title which only has been read, be adopted at first reading.
Do we have a seconder?
I'll second it.
On the question. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passed. Which takes us to, oh, I'm sorry. Yes, okay. So I believe Councillor Carmichael, you moved. Could you give the reading, please? Yeah. Bylaw 1702, legacy trailer.
Bylaw number 1702-2022, a bylaw to amend the rural plan of the Village of Beldoon, being bylaw 1701-008, under the authority vested in the Community Planning Act, the Municipal Council of Beldoon duly convened enacts as follows. I don't have to do the dark section, section 1? The sec- Okay, so I read it? Okay.
Do we have a mover for that particular motion, 31-15?
Second reading title, that the bylaw number 1701, 2022 concerning the amendment of the zoning provision of the rural plan of Beldoon, the title of which only has been read, be adopted at second reading.
We have a seconder?
I'll second it.
On the question? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passed. That same one.
Bylaw number 1702, 2022, a bylaw to amend the rural plan of the Village of Beldoon, being bylaw 1701, 2008.
Okay, thank you. Now we move down to 8.5, which is bylaw number MBA 2022-01, access to municipal buildings during the pandemic. So this will be first and second readings by title. The motion is 220131-16. Do we have a mover?
I'll move that bylaw number MBA 2022-01, access to municipal buildings during the pandemic, be read a first and second time by title.
Do we have a seconder?
I'll second it.
On the question? Anyone wish to comment? Okay. Yeah, did you want to add something?
I would like to say my piece on this bylaw if I could. I'm sure like all of us here, we've encouraged everyone to get their vaccination. And as far as I know, we've run into no issues in our buildings, in municipal offices or whatever. And unfortunately, I cannot add my name to a bylaw with loopholes in it and is out there to punish or to force people to do something against what they believe. I'm sorry. I believe that vaccines are very important, but I'm not about to push someone to do something against their will to utilize a service in our village. That's all I'd like to say.
Anyone else?
I agree. I think it's a personal decision. I don't think we have all the mandates online. We have everybody coming in, checking their vaccine. I don't think that we need to force anybody. Like, if they need something, they know they need to have proof to use the building. I don't feel we need to force it on anybody. It's a personal choice. I'm vaccinated. For me, that was the right thing to do, but maybe for the person next to me, it's not. So I can't agree to this bylaw.
Anyone else?
I also agree. I have faith in the residents of our village that they can make medical decisions concerning their health and well-being for themselves, and that they don't need us to be doing that for them. So I can't be for that bylaw.
Anyone else?
Let's go down the line. This is a standard policy. Our lawyer looked at it. There are no legal loopholes in the bylaw. There have been cases in our building. Our staff are sent home to protect them. It's a public safety issue. It's a standard procedure across the board at this point to protect all residents coming into our buildings. So I will support the bylaw, and I would like to just state that Councillor Carrier, I believe, is in conflict of interest and shouldn't be voting on this particular bylaw as a leasee within our building. So I just want to make that point as well.
Well, I'll comment on that, and I am not a leasee in the building. I don't have signing privilege for the company that I work for. The lease is not in my name. I work in this building just like you do every time you show up here for a meeting. So if that would be the case, then we would all be in conflict of interest, so.
Anyone else? I'll just, so I'll step down for a second, just give my opinion about this, because I, as you know from the last meeting, I support this legislation, and I think it's even stronger than, I thought it was strong last time. I think it's even stronger now. We have large swaths of the building that already have this. You can't come into the Power Club without having proof of vaccination. You can't,
I'm sorry, isn't it against regulations for the mayor to be voicing his opinion before a vote?
I think I can step down and speak to it.
Well, you'd have to step down and go to the podium, though. Wouldn't that be the correct procedure? Somebody else than the deputy mayor then would have to sit in your chair?
Well, come over and sit in their chair.
You are
if you wish.
correct there.
Okay, well, I don't want to break regulations. If you want to come over and sit, I'll go, is the podium on? Okay. You put it on, speak to it.
Is it working?
Yeah, there it is.
Is it on?
Yeah. So, anyway, just, we have a large swaths of buildings, places in the buildings that already have this. If you want to participate in an activity in the gymnasium, you need to show proof of vaccination, I believe. If you want to take part or use the Power Club, you also, and those are provincially mandated things, so there's a little bit difference in that case. But what do we say to the people? And by the way, this is not about being mandated. It's about, if anything, it's about freedom of choice, because you can have the choice. Whatever your choice is, whether it's to be vaccinated or not vaccinated, that's up to you. It's about your choices and then consequences of those choices. So I don't think it's unreasonable to say that if you want to use the facility, that you should show proof of vaccination. That's my opinion. And what do we tell the people who aren't allowed to use the gym or the Power Club because they don't have proof of vaccination, or they've decided not to vaccinate? So I think there's a bit of a double standard there. I think it's a great legislation, and I think, if anything we can do to add to the safety of the community, especially after we've seen the last 2 weeks, I think we should. So that's my opinion on that. I'll leave it at that.
If I may, Your Worship? Everyone has expressed their view except for me, so I think it's only appropriate that I express where I stand. I am supporting the document. I believe that pro-choice is something that they need to make outside of this building. We are responsible for everyone in this community, not, if you look around, if you look at the statistics say that 80 to 90% of all New Brunswickers are double vaccinated. So with that said, those are the people we're trying to protect. If they don't want to have vaccinations and they are coming and basically put the 80 to 90% at risk, then personally, I believe that their choice has impacted my choice. And with that said, it comes down to that the document is not something that we should look at politically. The document is about security, safety for our residents. Yes, I agree that there will be some people who may not agree with what it says. But the other side of the coin is that, that's going to happen on every single item and every single vote that this council will ever make. And with that said, I am saying here that for me, I will support the document strictly because I believe that it holds merit and safety and security for those who work here, those who are in the building. If we look around at all the major issues, the province of New Brunswick has a standard, the RCMP have a standard, the military have a standard, many municipalities have a standard. I don't know how it compares to this, but with that said, we're responsible for the majority. We're responsible for everyone, but we have to deal with what we believe is best for the majority. And that's why I'm going to support it.
Okay, thank you, council. I think everybody had an opportunity to voice their opinion. So we'll move to the vote. So again, on motion 2022-01-31-16, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Okay, so motion defeated. 8.6. This is a council resolution requesting a draft bylaw amending the zoning provisions of the rural plan and the publication of notice under subsection 111 brackets 1 of the Community Planning Act. So the subject is the amendment to the zoning provisions of the rural plan for the property. You see the PID number there, and you see the location. I guess we'll just go forward with the motion. Can I get a mover for this particular motion?
I move that motion 2022-01-31-17, that the following resolution be accepted as presented. Am I to read everything? Okay. Resolution, whereas the council has received a request to modify the rural plan from Mr. Surratt, and that the request is intended to allow the development of multiple uses on the property within the mixed zone MX-1. Whereas subsection 111(1) of the said act prescribes the publication of public notices relating to the adoption of such an amendment to the bylaw. Be it resolved that A bylaw be written to modify the rural plan. B, the municipal clerk, in the name of the council, shall give public notice in accordance with the requirements of subsection 111(4) of the Community Planning Act and within the time prescribed in this subsection 111 bracket 1. C, consideration of the objections to the bylaw will be scheduled on February 21st, 2022 in the Town Hall Chambers of Belledune, New Brunswick at 7 p.m. D, objections to the proposed bylaw may be submitted to the council within 14 days of the date of the public hearing by forwarding them to the office of the municipal clerk. Sorry.
Actually,
I just made a note that the February 21st meeting is actually on the 22nd because of the Family Day.
Oh, right.
So we just have to change from the 21st to the 22nd.
well, actually, I was going to mention this at the end of the meeting, if that's okay, but personally, I find that if we have 2 weeks between meetings, it works better for the agenda, et cetera, et cetera. So normally, we would have a meeting for the COW next Monday, right? I know the February 14th is Valentine's Day, but what if we held our meetings in February the 15th and the 28th? It would have 2 weeks between meetings. Would that work for council?
Are you looking at having 3 a month?
No, just instead of having the one on the 7th, which would be next Monday, or the 8th, moving it to the next Tuesday, or you could do it on Monday. I don't know how Valentine's Day works for you guys, but if Valentine's Day was a day that you said, I prefer not to. I'm just saying, it will give 2 weeks between the meetings, between this one and the next
Right.
committee of whole. And I find the meetings work better when we have that amount of time to work with.
Mr. Mayor, but there is 2 weeks between the Monday's meeting and the next one on the 28th. There is 2 weeks. We have February 7th and then February 22nd. So there is 2 weeks in between. Okay,
Yeah, I know what you're saying,
between the committee of whole.
Know what I'm saying? Committee of the whole would be normally on the 7th,
7th, right.
next Monday. And I'm wondering, if we could still have a committee of whole and a regular meeting in February if we went either the 14th or 15th and the 28th. With that, is anybody, if people okay with that, or?
Right.
Wouldn't that all catch up with us though in March? I mean, it's just gonna, it's
up to
just
you
gonna be a
guys.
chain
I'm just
reaction.
thinking.
I mean, sooner or later, we're gonna have to
gonna
bite
catch
the
up
bullet.
with us.
Yeah.
So I think other than change the schedule, we might as well bite the bullet because the schedule's already made
Okay.
and posted and everything, so,
So this, the only thing that has to change then is the date on this motion.
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So duly noted, the change in that. Okay. That's our mover. Do we have a seconder?
I'll second it.
Okay. Okay, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passed. Okay. And we move down to motions and resolutions. 9.1, that's the request from Circle of Friends chairlift carryover from December 20th, 2021 meeting. So we have a motion there, 20-225. This is the motion from the 20th, right? Approve a budget of up to $18,000 for the installation of a chairlift at Main Street West and stairwell as a renovation to the building, and that was seconded by Councilor Carmichael. We also have motion 20-225B. Councilor Carmichael moved that motion 20-225 be tabled to next month pending C.O. Ferguson discussion with Circle of Friends. That was seconded by Councilor Robinson, and that motion carried. So do we have another motion this evening? Is this on here to bring it to another motion or just,
It was added on because it was said to carry it over to the next meeting.
okay.
And I believe CEO Ferguson spoke to
He
it
did.
earlier, so.
Yeah. So do we want to put a motion forward on that then? Councilor Guitar-McDonald, did you want to put a motion forward on that? It's basically the same one if you wanted to, I guess. Okay.
Are we not waiting for finances or something like that in March?
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna wait?
Reapply in March? Reapply in March? Okay.
No. Right.
Okay.
Okay, so then we move down to 9.2, which is the snow removal, local streets by local contractors, agreements amendment. That motion is 31-18. Can I get a mover?
So move, your worship. Motion 2022-01, 31-18, the resolution M 2021-11-22-191 from the meeting of November 22nd, 2021 be amended to change the name from Ron McIntosh to his company name of 500503 NB Limited. Resolution amended Whereas council wishes to outsource snow clearing services during certain large winter storms and before the Department of Transport and Infrastructure gets to clean all public roadways, and whereas the proposed contracts are under the threshold of the Procurement Act and its regulations, and whereas council agrees that this proposed measure does not need to proceed by way of the Purchasing Policy 02/2012, be it resolved that council agrees to provide contracts to R. Murphy and Sons Trucking Limited, Dwayne Woodcock, 500503 NB Limited, and Norman Corrier. Be it also resolved that each contract shall not exceed $3,300 plus HST if applicable, and be it also resolved that the signing officers are hereby authorized to sign the snow blowing agreements prepared by legal counsel.
Okay, do we have a seconder for the motion
I'll second it.
on the question?
I have a question. That amount, that's for the winter per contractor or per storm?
That's for the winter, per contractor.
Any others? Okay, on the motion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passed. 9.3, 2022 Fire Protection Service Agreement, LSD Chaleur. Do we have a mover for 31-19?
I move that motion 2022-01-31-19, that the 2022 Fire Protection Service Agreement for the Local Service District of Chaleur between the Minister of Local Government for the Province of New Brunswick and the Village of Beldoon be accepted and endorsed as presented for the amount of $22,380, and the mayor and clerk be authorized to sign all relevant documents.
I'll second it.
On the question? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passed.
If I may, your worship, just a general comment.
Yep.
Council has had several meetings already with the fire department through our fire committee. And, we as a council are not responsible for putting out fires. We're responsible for making sure that policy and procedures in place so that the firefighters are protected in their job. With that said, which leads me to the comment I wish to make, the fire department is functioning like very, very well. And I'd just like to comment and congratulate the fire department, and in particular Captain Stevenson. I believe it's Captain Stevenson, who has is a very, very strong in adopting policies. I believe he should be recognized by this council in the sense that what he brings to not only our job, making it easier because the policies and procedures for the firefighters are in place, but also for the firefighters themselves. So I'd just like to comment that I personally recognize the contribution that he makes to the fire department and to our community, and the public should also recognize this contribution that he has made to the, a very strategic part of our village.
Yep, agreed and well said. We have a good group there at the fire department. We have good leadership there too. Okay, so that takes care of that. We're now to general correspondence.
We have correspondence in. We have the Restigouche SPCA report for December, the Atlantic Railway track inspection report for December, Beldoon Library report December, the Chaleur Regional Service Commission building permit report for December, and CAMA letters to CAO, clerk treasurer, and administrative assistant. For the magazines, we have Municipal World.
Okay, thank you. I guess we're on to adjournment. Motion 31-20. Can I get a mover?
I move that the meeting is adjourned at 8:45.
Need a seconder?
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Thank you for watching, everyone. Have a good night. Meeting adjourned.